Recording in progress.
Oh yeah, we got him. Trey, Frazier, and Maestro Styles, you know we got one. Right back like we left something. We don't duck smoke, we want all of it. So line them up, Trey sharp with the blade, you know we sizing it up. I'm quick to catch the fade, you know Styles making the cut. Cause we coming out clean every time that we showing up.
It's gonna be called The Barbershop.
Yo, what up, folks? Welcome. It's another edition of the Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. We're live on our YouTube channel, Twitter, at Barbershop SPOR2, and also on our Facebook page. Trey Frazier, and that's the homie right there, Maestro Styles.
Yes, sir. What's happening?
I'm good, man. I'm blessed. How you doing, B?
I'm good, man. Working.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's starting to sound cliche, but it's,
that's a great
journey.
cliche. That's a great cliche to
Yeah.
have. So
Yeah.
nothing wrong with working,
Yeah.
man. Nothing wrong with working, man. Yeah, man. Last week was without any football, man. It just felt a little bit of void from a sports fan perspective. But this is time of year where it gets a little bit dull, and then starts to pick up again with some playoff basketball and the end of the season coming. So
depends on how you feel about March Madness. That's on the way. And obviously how you feel about the All-Star game.
Yep.
I'll be the first to say that my watching of the All-Star game was exclusively on Twitter or Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't watched not a dunk contest, 3-point contest, not a Steph versus Sabrina. None of it on TV. But I'm prepared to talk about it, I guess.
we got some stuff to talk about in regard to that, man. A lot of things happening behind the scenes of the All-Star weekend and on the court, obviously, but I don't want to let this escape me before we talk about the All-Star game. But last week, the day after we did the podcast, the Kansas City Chiefs had their championship parade in Kansas City, and I just want to say to all the folks out there and even the Chiefs fans on the timeline. That's including Jody and Lexi and some of the other folks that I know that are Chiefs fans that I follow on Twitter. That I'm happy for y'all safety. I know they went to the parade and everything, and prayers to the people and the folks affected by the shooting that happened at Union Station, which is Kansas City's train, station down there where they had the parade at. I think the number was like 20 people, which included some children, got shot by a couple of people that were apprehended eventually. And I just heard today that they're being charged with murder. So, again, to the people, and I don't want to leave this name out too. Lisa Lopez was a local radio DJ in Kansas City that attended the event. She was one of the unfortunate casualties. Well, I don't want to say unfortunate casualty. A casualty is unfortunate without saying that, but she, I believe, was the only life that was lost. And I just want to say rest in peace to her. The folks that I've seen on the timeline talk about her quite a bit as sort of a legendary individual in that city who's been on radio and is a DJ and everything like that. So, rest in peace to her. And once again, condolences and, thoughts and prayers to the families that got affected by this crazy thing that happened, all while trying to enjoy your team getting the championship, another championship at that. So just want to put that out there.
For sure. Rest in peace to all the lives lost. Rest in paradise to all the lives lost. Prayers and condolences to everybody affected. For sure. Nothing else to add to that.
Yep. All right. So All-Star weekend.
All-Star. Shame on black people for letting Mac McClung win dunk contest again.
In Black History Month. In Black History Month, right?
Shame on him, man. Shame on him. Like I said, I didn't watch this on TV, but I think I saw enough of everybody else being mid, and Mac McClung. He had that one dunk where he jumped over.
Was it Shaq or?
Was it Shaq where he grabbed it, but I guess he grabbed it and kind of popped it up and grabbed it a second time in reverse.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
That seemed to be the only one, the only dunk that I saw that entire, just again through scrolling on social media that was like, all right, that looked like one of them. That looked like a tough dunk. Everything else just looked like we ain't really want to be here.
So the only thing I'll say about the dunk contest is that, and I know I'm a Knicks fan and I root for my players, but I got to tell you, Jacob Toppin, I thought should have been in the final against Mac McClung over Jaylen Brown, going up against Mac McClung in the final. I thought Jacob Toppin had that one dunk that looked a whole lot better than Jaylen Brown's dunk in that first go-round, but the judges just I felt like they kind of messed that one up. I thought it should have been Jacob versus Mac McClung, but all in all, this is embarrassing. I mean, I even said it on Twitter.
Hold on. I'm sorry. I just want to be here for clarity. Jacob Toppin, is that Obi?
No, that's Obi's brother.
Okay. Oh, I didn't know this person existed. Okay, gotcha. Okay. That's why I was sitting here thinking I'm pretty sure he's not there anymore. So are you rooting for somebody?
No. That's his brother.
Gotcha. Okay. I was not aware of Jacob Toppin. What is he play a lot? Do you get a lot of minutes?
Jacob Toppin, no. Okay. He doesn't get much.
So he's like the back of the bench player, not trying to be this.
Pretty much. No, he is. I mean, look at all the trades we've made, mid-season so far. So yeah, he's definitely on the backside of it. Even with us missing 5 rotation players right now, he's still not getting a lot of burn. So, but I wanted to root for him because this was the most burn that he was going to get in this All-Star weekend in this dunk contest, and I thought it should have been in that final part of the contest going up against Mac. And just kind of overall with the dunk contest, man, I still think it's embarrassing that a G leaguer, with respect to Mac McClung, is going back to back winning this thing.
I didn't even know G Leaguers could be in the dunk contest.
I didn't know it from last year. They
Yeah.
let him in. He won it. Okay, cool. He came
I
back
thought he
this
played
year.
for the Nuggets last year.
You said you thought he played for the Nuggets?
I thought he played for the Nuggets last year.
Not that I'm aware of.
I don't. Yeah. Okay. I don't. Yeah.
Not,
okay.
not that I'm aware of, unless they maybe called him up and then they sent them back. But he
Yeah.
plays for I guess it's the team that's in affiliation with the Orlando Magic, I believe. So
I think I might have meant Magic too. But
okay,
I'm
visualizing the jersey that he had on, and I think it's the team that's affiliated with that team down in Orlando. So, but no, not to my knowledge. I don't think he played for the Nuggets last year. But yeah, I just think at this point, man, with this dunk contest, if you're gonna tell me that a G Leaguer is gonna win a back-to-back dunk contest, man, then I might as well just scrap this whole thing, man. Like, I mean, I know,
or start bringing in these professional dunkers
off the street,
these
right?
because I don't know. I'm sure this show's not on TNT anymore.
Mm-hmm.
There used to be a show where they had I guess it's more like a reality show where they had cats who dunked. And like they would go through their rigmarole of having dunk contests, and I guess whoever won at the end of the contest won like a cash prize or something like that.
Right.
And some of them dudes was out there doing phenomenal shit. Maybe you start inviting those dudes, give them a platform to showcase their talents.
They gotta do something, man. Cause
this shit is trash.
It's crazy. It's gotten
trash.
just so bad, man. I mean, I'll beg for the days of Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine at this point, man. It's gotten so bad. And then we get to the 3-point contest. So here's what I think, because I think Steph versus Sabrina, to me, I think was the best part of the entire All-Star Weekend activities. I think it was
interesting.
Steph versus Sabrina, I think was the best part. I did like the 3-point contest overall as well, with Dame and Kat and Jalen Brunson in it as well. I did like that too, and shout out to Dame for going back-to-back, winning the 3-point contest. This, NBA versus WNBA player, I think this needs to continue moving forward. I think they need to expand this to more participants. So, like, Caitlin Clark, I'm sure she's going to come out in the draft this year. She'll be in the WNBA next year. Caitlin Clark needs to be a part of this. I'd like to see some of the other sisters in the WNBA take part in this. Maybe it could be a 4 versus 4, and maybe that particular event can take up a bulk of the Saturday night festivities. I would like to see something like that, man. Because that was really good. I mean, Sabrina, she is like, she's her. Yeah. Like when it comes to 3-point shooting, she's her for certain, man. Props to her. 26 points, and it took Steph to get 2 extra points just to beat her in the contest. So, I loved it. I loved every minute of it. I think next year they need to expand it to more players, and it's still, I like the NBA versus WNBA kind of a thing.
How you feel about one-on-ones?
One-on-ones in terms of just straight one-on-ones, and not
WNBA versus NBA.
One-on-ones.
I saw this. I
haven't given it much thought, but
I saw it on Twitter, and I was like, like I could get with that.
One-on-ones. I'm not against it. Just haven't given it much thought, but you probably have some more insight.
No. I just thought about. I just saw it on Twitter and wondered, like, okay, I might be interested in that.
Yeah, I'm not against that, but like I said, the dunk contest right now, the way I'm feeling about what I saw the other night, they should just scrap that. I'm sorry, bro. Like, what's more exciting in the NBA this not so much this kind of year, but in today's NBA, the most exciting thing is 3-point shooting.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know that I'm ready to get rid of the dunk contest. I do think something needs to happen. Like
Mm-hmm.
again, if the stars ain't going to come out and play and participate,
Yeah.
then maybe you need to just go ahead and get, like I said, get that platform to some of these other dunkers, because there's dunkers on the streets like us, that really do that trick dunk shit. Like
Mm-hmm. Right. Right. Right.
maybe you give that those players a platform to show off what they do, and it helps for them to be on the national stage.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like that giving back thing.
Right. Right.
I would love to see the Big Three get involved in the All-Star game in some capacity.
I did see that. I did see somebody talk about that. Yeah.
I didn't see that, but I'm just out here freestyling.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see that. Like, 'cause Ice Cube already think y'all don't fuck with him. So I mean, this would be
I was just
good
about
way
to say.
integrate.
Yep.
To integrate the two leagues. He's saying he not in competition with y'all. He ain't trying to compete with y'all.
Mm-hmm.
He understands y'all the big dog. So yeah, like let's find some way to get Ice Cube and his company involved in the NBA on All-Star Weekend. I think that's a perfect olive branch in my opinion.
I'd like for that to happen. And you brought up the relationship between him and the NBA. It seems like the league is not trying to rock with what he's doing. I hope that they can maybe, kind of mend some fence here and maybe say, hey, let's get some of the old school guys in here to participate, and maybe that'll bring more excitement, at least from a viewing standpoint, at least from home, to be able to make this thing more exciting, man.
Anything. Like I would love.
I'm open to a lot of ideas.
Yeah, I'm open to anything that make me watch it. Like anything. While we speaking on old retired players, I want to send a get well soon out to Nate Robinson. I seen online that he looking for a liver. I want to say it is.
Yeah, kidney.
I'm sorry. So I want to send prayers out to him. I hope you get that together and get back healthy.
Yeah, for sure, man. Keep your head high, Nate Robinson, for that. Hopefully, something comes through. Whereas, he could get another kidney. So
yeah, for sure.
Appreciate that.
On to the game, the actual All-Star game, where 211 points were scored by the East, which is the record high. I'm glad they got rid of the whole first to 175, whatever it was. I'm glad they got rid of that. And Dame went crazy, won the MVP. Shout out to Dame. Shout out to I think Halliburton had 32 and Jalen had 36, and it seemed like they smoked the West.
They did.
Yeah,
I know the West tried to make a little bit of it, but the East just kind of ran away with it. And Cat had another 50 burger, but of course, anytime Cat go over 50 points, somehow his teams lose. So
they got smoked, by the way.
So they got smoked for sure.
Yeah, but shout out to the All-Star game, and I'm gonna say this too. Look, man, there is no reason why the Western Conference or the Eastern Conference, for that matter, should be getting smoked in an All-Star game. So whatever the West had going on, I'm gonna need y'all to get that together for next year. I didn't even look at the game, but to see that score, that looked crazy.
Yeah, they was down as much as like 20 something, I think, at one point. It was a little crazy. It was definitely a little crazy. What do you think about them going back to the East versus West format?
I like that. I never agree with the fantasy the pick 'em. I never agree with that.
Yeah.
So I'm cool with East and West. I mean, hell, I'm even cool with them going back to wearing their team jerseys when Marbury and Kobe had that one game. I'm down for that.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
So one side wore like they're all whites, I guess, right?
Sure. I don't know. I don't remember exactly how it worked.
Okay.
I just remember everybody had their team on.
Okay.
And that looks. I don't know. I don't know if it's just nostalgia. That year.
I would like to see something like that one of these years.
Yeah, like just go back to respect the history, man.
The home
respect
city,
the history, man.
The home city in all white, like the West in all white, the East in all their darker, versions of their jerseys. I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind seeing that. So I heard the All-Star game is in San Francisco next year, which is interesting because for some reason I felt like they already hosted one recently, but I'm thinking about some ideas in regard to that. Being we just came from San Francisco for Christmas, but we about a year away from that.
Thoughts on Chris Brown not being asked to show? Is that what's factual? He was asked to not show up because what I thought I read or saw was he was like he wanted to play in the celebrity game, and I guess at one point they said cool, no problem.
Yep.
And then they came back and said, nah, we got a problem. And specifically, I thought I saw Chris Brown posting specifically that it was Ruffles that had an issue with him showing up, and Ruffles being a sponsor of the NBA was the people specifically who shut him out.
Okay, so I'm not sure.
Or was the reason for him being shut out?
So I'm not sure that a Ruffles representative said something in regard to that, but yes, Ruffles was the sponsor, and I think because he posted a clip of the email on his IG, and they said, "Hey, we don't think this is a good idea because Ruffles is our sponsor, and they said basically we're uninviting you at this point." It's bullshit to me because you don't go to the dude, invite him, and then say, days later, hey, we're sorry, Ruffles is our sponsor. We're not going to invite you. And look, it's unfortunate, man. Nobody should be held towards their transgressions for that many years of however long that's been since, the Rihanna incident took place. I guess it's about 15 years ago now at this point. Nobody should be, held to that and held over their head for this long. I feel like he's been to All-Star games since then. That's what's kind of I don't know that for a fact. I don't know that he's played in many. I don't know that he's played in a celebrity game. I'm
sure he's okay, but like, all right, if that's the case that he hasn't played in the All-Star game, in a celebrity game, that's cool. But like, what are we talking about? He's clearly been there. Like, he's clearly been shown on the camera. I'm sure he's gotten some business there. I'm not sure, but I'm confident he's gotten business there since.
I'm not sure.
I'm confident. I would love to be proven wrong, but I'm confident that he's gotten business at the All-Star game under the guise of the NBA and the All-Star game.
Depending on who the sponsor is. Because I think this is the first time that I've heard Ruffles being a sponsor.
Was this a Ruffles All-Star Celebrity Game? Is that what I'm missing?
It was. The Ruffles sponsored the Celebrity All-Star Game. So maybe he's been in those spaces. Again, I don't recall him actually playing in the game, but you may be onto something to where maybe he's been in the building, maybe he's been to the parties, he's been in like the vicinity of All-Star Weekend.
He's made money. Him and the NBA, I believe, have done business since that Rihanna incident.
Yeah, I'm gonna research that. I'm gonna definitely research that. But it also got me to thinking this too, because after the Super Bowl, me and Debbie, we were just listing out some names of some people that could possibly do the halftime show for next year's Super Bowl. And I was like, Drake's got a pretty good catalog. He's a, mainstream guy. Drake could definitely, be a headliner for the Super Bowl halftime show. And then she said Chris Brown. And I said, man, he's got the catalog. It's no question. Yeah, for sure. He's got the catalog for a Super Bowl halftime show. I'm just concerned that the league is going to hold this Rihanna incident over his head, and I
would hope they didn't.
And I think that this thing with Ruffles and the celebrity game kind of buffers my thought from that. Is that unfortunately?
Yeah, here's what
I think in the end, and I hope I'm wrong. Let me just be clear. I hope I'm wrong. Again, the catalog is there for the halftime show. He's got mainstream reach to do this. If Ruffles got an issue with him just playing in the game, then I'm just imagining what the NFL thinks to have him perform at the halftime show. Again, I hope I'm wrong, but with the NFL and with, Jay-Z kind of headlining and stuff, and then they've had Rihanna perform already, it wouldn't shock me to not see him do a halftime show for the Super Bowl. It wouldn't shock me.
The only reason I could possibly see Chris Brown not being an option is because the whole Live Nation thing. But let's be clear, this is an Apple Music performance. Like, this Apple Music has been responsible for that.
Yep.
I don't see them saying, hey, you can't do this because of your past transgressions, all the business that Chris Brown and Apple have done. I can't see that being a thing.
Yeah, I can understand that. I could see Apple speaking for him and maybe making the case to do so. And unfortunately, I could see the league saying, I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah,
but
I don't think. I think if they came to him with Chris Brown, I think if Chris Brown pops up and he's a viable option, I think he would do it. I think he would be allowed to do it.
He's and I'm not really.
Well,
to
I
me,
mean,
it's
when
not
I say viable option, I mean, obviously he is
a viable option. He is.
But when I say viable option, I mean in those offices they actually said, hey, let's go get Chris Brown. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, no, I got you.
Yeah, I think they not because he's not talented enough. I think they go a million ways before as Apple before they go Chris Brown. Not because of he's not a bigger artist, but you could just go different people. I mean, Taylor Swift is definitely going to be a halftime show performer very soon. Yep. If not this,
I was gonna say it could be next year.
Yeah. But in my mental mind, New Orleans, and I know this you kind of get on topic. New Orleans. You better bring out Young Money, Cash Money. You better bring them out.
No Limit, too.
Yeah, I want to see Back That Ass Up being the last song at the Super Bowl. That's what I want to see.
Wishful thinking, man. I would love to see that too, but
that's what I want to see. If
I had to guess, they probably gonna be like, "Hey, Juvie, we not gonna play that song." But yeah, I would love to see. I would love to see Juvie, Cash Money. The whole No Limit. I would love to see that. I would love to see that
for sure. While we on music, man, how you feel about KD on Stally joint?
That joint was good, man. I actually like this verse on there, and I like the song overall, but his verse in particular, man, I liked it. I liked the flow. I liked how we sounded on it. Cool, man. He might do an album at this point.
Well, I liked it too. Let me start there.
Yep.
I'm sure. I mean, you could tell that he has been working behind the scenes at this rapping thing. That wasn't the first verse he's written or recorded. You could tell.
Yep.
To me, he sounds. To me, if I have a criticism, I like. That song is my vibe. Like the beat,
Yeah.
He sound like if Jay Electronica played basketball to me. That's what he sound like. That's exactly what he sound like.
It's funny you say that. It's funny you say that because I'm listening and I'm saying to myself, he has to be inspired by Jay Electronica in some way, shape, or form because that vibe is just exactly that. So
I know
I'm glad you brought
flow,
that up. Yeah,
the exact flow is Jay Electronica's flow. Like, let's be clear. That flow is Jay Electronica. Anything you listen to by Jay, that's Jay Electronica's flow.
Yeah.
I like what he said. I like the verse. I like the flow. I like everything on it. But he sound like I had to do this before the show came on just to make sure I wasn't tripping.
Yep.
He sounds like a basketball player that's rapping. He just does.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when I listen to Dame Dollar's in my ear right now.
Yeah.
Dame Dollar sound like a rapper when he on records. Like he sound like a rap. Like I don't know what it is about KD's like what he's saying, not what he's saying, but how he's saying it on the track.
Yeah,
he sound like even when he was doing like the little backing vocals to the hook, it's like he just sound like a basketball player to me.
Yeah.
Which ain't a bad thing. Like, cause like I said, if you a basketball player with a tough verse, like all right, no, like we ain't looking at you like
Yeah.
Stally.
I'm trying
let's
to
be clear. Stally been in this game for a minute and been nice for a minute.
Right.
So like we ain't looking at you on a Stally joint like like we expecting you to perform to the level of Stally. You did a cool verse. Like that joint was tough. I fucked with it.
Yeah.
So but he definitely did sound like Jay Electronica played basketball.
Yeah, so I'm trying to think like when Shaq rapped back in the day, or Kobe, or AI.
He sounded like a basketball
Those guys
player.
sounded like basketball
He sounded
players.
like a basketball
Yeah,
player, 100%.
right,
Shaq
right,
did.
yeah.
Kobe definitely did.
Yeah.
I
thought AI did. I thought AI sounded like he, hooped.
Yeah, it's just something. It's something. I don't know what it is about it. I can't put my finger on what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hell, like if you ever heard a Vernon Davis song, Vernon Davis out here recording records, like he sound like an athlete.
Now I haven't heard of Vernon Davis yet. I haven't heard him rap yet.
Like he sound like a athlete. That's rapping.
Okay. Yeah.
But
Yeah, that's what's up.
Matter of fact, I just got finished listening to it's a Rick Ross Meek song, but it got Dame and Shaq on the on the remix.
Yeah,
and you could clearly tell that Ross wrote Shaq verse, but he sound like he sound like he just sound like an athlete. Yeah,
that's dope. That's what's up, man. Yeah, again, I hope KD does an album.
Yeah, by all means.
I hope he does an album.
I mean, I ain't going that far. I ain't gonna say, I want to hear an album from him, but I'm not gonna sit here and tell you if he put out an album, I'm gonna listen to it. That song gotta be that whatever song I hear first. That song I hear first gotta I gotta hear that song.
No, I got you. First impressions last. I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
I gotta hear how that first song hit before I'm gonna sit here and say that.
I think my first impression with this song though makes me intrigued about what he could potentially do.
Yeah, it don't hit for
you. It don't hit for you. Okay.
No, not because I didn't like it. Like
right.
That song is the formula for the type of shit I like. But when I heard him rap, it was cool. But it's like, am I going back to that song to listen to the Katy verse? Nah, I'm not. It's just like, all right, cool. He could rap. Cool. You know what I'm saying?
But like you said, the song overall is a tight song. Nah, I ain't gonna. I'm not going back to it. You wouldn't keep it in your rotation?
No.
Really? Okay.
It just wasn't. Yeah, I don't like if it played, I wouldn't cut it off. But I ain't waking up in the morning or going through my work day half of the day and
right.
Oh man,
it's not on your playlist.
I did not put it on a playlist at all.
Okay.
Yeah, no shade,
right?
Because it was a good song. It just wasn't playlist worthy. I guess that's the way to say it.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna definitely put it on my playlist for certain.
Yeah.
I had it.
Shout out to Katy, shout out to Stally, and like I said, I've been fucking with Stally since he was sampling Blue Note records on mixtapes. So I fuck with Stally like before he signed with Ross back in the day. So
yeah.
But that one wasn't it for me.
All right. Well, that's what's up.
On that level, let me say on that level.
Right. Caitlin Clark. Let's talk about her for a second. You said shout out to the legend.
Legend. I said or great. I meant to say great. I took that back really fast.
Okay. There's been a lot of debate about this over the week. But congrats to Caitlin Clark on breaking the all-time women's scoring record in college. Now, there's another record she can break later this season. I think it's Pistol Pete's record.
100 points away, 100 or so points away from being, period, the top scorer in college basketball.
Men's and women's combined, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And she's going to reach that for certain.
I would think so, but I don't even know how many games we got left.
I don't know how many games we got left, but March Madness is what, 3 weeks away, weeks away maybe. She's got. I'm imagining that's about 5 or 6 games. I mean, she's been dropping 30 in most of these games. So
she had 49. I saw last Thursday. So.
Yeah. So she can reach that in 3 games in my book. in any case. So,
How you feel about Jay Williams while we there? Jay Williams saying I can't call her great yet.
I understand what he's saying. So he's basically saying to be in the immortal list, and when you say immortal, you're talking about the people that have done it at that level when it comes to scoring, the championships, and I guess I'm not sure if he was including like their pro careers mixed with the college career, but I kind of got
be doing that.
I kind of got what he was saying though. Like before we crown her this great, from an immortal standpoint, let's pump the brakes a bit. So I kind of understand that.
Yeah,
but to me,
but who said immortal? Yeah.
No, he did. He said immortal.
Right. I'm getting. So I went and made sure I watched the clip again to make sure I wasn't tripping.
Yep.
You can be great without being immortal. Whatever
Facts.
Whatever
Facts.
that means.
Facts.
You can be great without winning championships. Mm-hmm. You could look. I feel like, and I'm not saying he's not entitled to his opinion. What I'm saying is that at that moment when we were trying to celebrate her doing something great, because let's be clear, what she did was great. What she's doing is great.
Yep.
It felt like I don't think he a hater. It just felt like a moment where you could have held that criticism or where you could have held that opinion. Like at the end of the day, my G, like right now she's doing something great. Let's just let her have that moment without your, you know what I'm saying? She is great. She is great. Anybody who the all time say what you want about what she might get injured and never play in the WNBA, God forbid. She was a great college basketball player, whether she wins it or not.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It just seemed like ill timing. I don't think this was the moment to put her career so far in a box and try to judge it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was too early for that.
Okay. So I think we see it two different ways here. So you're saying, hey, keep that to yourself. We can just celebrate her in the moment as she breaks this record and just call her great. Like she's great at what she does currently.
Because how could she not be great as the leading women's basketball scorer of all time? How could she not be great?
Right. Of course. So I'm with you there. I think for me, and I didn't realize Jay Williams got criticized for that statement. I didn't realize that because I didn't take it as he was trying to be critical of her or downplay what she's doing. I think what he was trying to do was he was just trying to preserve the folks that have already done it at the high level and say, hey, let's not put Caitlin Clark with those folks. Let's just keep Caitlin Clark at what she's doing right now. What she's doing right now is on a great level in terms of her being the all-time leading scorer in women's college basketball, like under that umbrella. And I get what he's saying. I didn't realize he was getting criticism for saying that.
Yeah, I ain't mad at him for his opinion. I'm just saying that have that opinion, but in the moment, like it seemed like I forget the chick who was giving her take on it before he spoke, but
Andrea Carter.
She ended who?
Andrea Carter, I think, was the girl that was
Andrea Carter. All right, well, shout out to her. She said her last statement was, she said whoop 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 about it, and then she ended with she's great. Jay Williams comes to, I guess, like in response to her or rebuttal to her, like, she's good, she's done, great things. But for me, if you can acknowledge that she's doing great things, why can't she be in the great category? Like again, it's only one person that's the all-time leading scorer in women's basketball. It's only one. It's her.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Yep. And let's be clear, she passed a great player in Kelsey Plum. She passed, and I forget the other two people. The chick that was in Ohio State, and Jackie, who I don't want to mess the names up.
I got the visual of the people she passed. I just can't get the names. But
I want to say it's Jackie Sykes, but I don't want to mess nobody's up.
Yep.
The point is that she is the leading female scorer, women's scorer in college basketball.
Yeah.
That's great. If she never wins a championship in college basketball, that on its own, that achievement on its own, in my opinion, makes her great.
Yeah.
So, and I guess that's just my opinion as opposed to his opinion. I just feel like you could have kept that while we was talking about her achieving something right there when we was talking about her achieving something. You'd have thrown shade right there. I get you ain't mean it that way, but that's certainly how it was received by some people. I think you could have left that. We were sitting here debating greatest college players, and you was like, I don't know, and somebody brought up Caitlin Clark, and you said, I don't really put her there right now. That's one thing. But we talking about her achieving something, and you made it your business to say, well, she ain't great yet. I don't know. I don't really care for that.
Right. Now, there were folks that were having the conversation, so I'm not sure if he was maybe responding to some of the people that were trying to put her in a stratosphere with the greats that have done it before. I'm not 100% certain about that. For me, in addition to what she's accomplished this year, I think there's something about doing it for a program like Iowa, because when I think of Iowa, and I'm not a big, college sports person, but when I think of Iowa, the first sport that comes to mind is football because of the Big Ten rivalries and, and all that stuff. I never really thought of Iowa as a basketball program. I've never put that program with the UConns and the Tennessees and, what Dawn Staley has done with this South Carolina team in recent memory. So I think in addition to her greatness and what she's done and what she's accomplished, something about doing it for this program and for it to get to the Final Four and to the national title game last year. I get it, she didn't win it, but the fact that she got that team to that point, I think speaks a lot about, her accomplishments and what she's done up to this point. Cause,
and let me, not to cut you off, but to kind of cut you off, how is she not great in college basketball?
Yeah,
I don't understand. So, because if it's chips, don't give me the line.
Some people put chips over everything, and
but there are college,
you can't do that.
I am 100% sure that there are college basketball players that he would consider to be great, women basketball players that he would consider to be great that didn't win a national championship. I'm 100% sure of it.
I'm sure
that if we went down the line of women basketball players, we could find at least 3 women that he thought was great that didn't win a national championship.
I'm sure.
I'm 100% sure of it.
I'm sure, but I bet you those names that he would find would be names that probably were more successful in the pro level than they were in their college years.
But if we're gonna keep it a G, what do you hold more valuable at this stage of the game? A collegiate career or a professional career in the WNBA?
Probably collegiate at this point.
Right.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine how he would be trying to involve the professional, and that's no shade to the WNBA, but collegiate basketball has been collegiate basketball for decades. So the WNBA's been here since '96, and they just starting to cook, and I know their viewership has increased significantly in the past year, but that's just starting to happen. Hell, I remember 5 years ago when people was talking about the WNBA might not last, it might be done.
Yeah,
we still talking about women who are severely underpaid in the WNBA. Where your bread and butter is, where you become a legend in women's basketball, it's still, in my opinion,
right.
And I think most people's opinion, when you think about it, is still in how you play in college basketball and not necessarily in the WNBA.
I'm glad we're talking about this. You know what I think partly has hurt the WNBA over the course of its existence? Because I remember going to the Liberty games, and I remember getting that '97 inaugural T-shirt, and I remember the Teresa Weatherspoons and the Tina Thompsons, the Cheryl Swoops, the Cynthia Coopers, the first dynasty of
With
the
her wild
WNBA. The Houston Comets, that team was a dynasty. And then, you kind of sit back and think about it. And I remember having this conversation with my god sister Janelle about this. When that league first started, there were like multiple there were more teams than it is right now. Like, I remember Charlotte having a team. I remember Cleveland having a team. Sacramento had a team. Houston, the Comets, like I just talked about. And throughout those years, like in the early 2000s and throughout that decade, most of those teams either went somewhere else or they went defunct. Like, they just went bankrupt. Like, the Comets, I mean, for that team to have 4 championships in a row, to be a dynasty and not exist anymore, there's just something about that makes me think, man, like, if that team still existed, maybe some of the WNBA could have been salvaged over the years. But I think that partly hurts it. I don't think it's the main thing, but I think the fact that you had these teams inaugurally come into the league, and now we're sitting here with 12 teams, and I think 3 of them have kind of been like the part of the original 14 or 16 or however many it was.
That's New York, Los Angeles, and Washington, maybe? Yeah,
right. And then some of the other teams, like, there's some new ones, and then there's some ones that relocated from other cities and stuff like that. So I think that partly hurt the WNBA in terms of viewership, in terms of maintaining the legacy of those past teams. And we're up to this point now, and like you said, it's become exciting again with the women's college game, with the what's the word, with the anticipation that we got some great talent coming out of college into the league, and viewership is up and things like that. So I just wanted to put that out there, because it's interesting that we're talking about the league and what it's done, and just me thinking about how, man, if only those teams that originally started have still kind of maintained themselves over the years, maybe there'd be a much more staying power. Maybe we wouldn't be talking about chartered flights and stuff, because I think that was another topic we were talking about as far as
but I don't. I mean, obviously, I don't have the attendance numbers, and I don't know how much they were selling on merchandise and all those things in the 90s. But one thing I could tell you for certain, outside, I have only seen one Mystics jersey in the 90s that I can recall, when they was wearing the blue and gold. It was a Shamika Holdsclaw jersey. A lady who was clearly a basketball player, not like a professional, but like you follow the sport. Yeah, that's the only time I can recall seeing a Mystics jersey. I still would have to assume that that they weren't making money, even when they was 96 whatever that Comets run was. Yep. You would have to assume they didn't close down business because they was making all this money, and they what I'm saying, and that type of thing. Yeah, they were clearly, they weren't making the money. Is what I'm saying? And, unfortunately, you got to make the money to
right. And going. And I think part of that is who owned those teams at the time, because I think we talked about it before. The Mystics are owned by Leonsis. So it's better. It's why the Mystics have lasted this long. The Liberty was owned by Dolan, when it first started. So and now it's owned by the people that own the Nets. But there's been some staying power with that. The same thing with the Sparks out in LA. Same thing. Same ownership group with the Lakers. So there's been some staying power. Now you kind of question, going back, were those teams that no longer exist, who were they owned by, and was there enough support from an ownership standpoint? So,
yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, is money coming in comparison to money you got to pay. I think one thing that the Mystics did is when they went to that smaller stadium down by Congress Heights. You know, like we can pack a stadium.
Yep.
We can pack this stadium. We can sell merch. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I still haven't been to a Mystics game, which is something I need to put on my to-do list this summer.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? Like you can make it happen.
Right.
With this smaller stadium, we can pay bills and you know and do everything we need to do and still make a profit. And I think that's what's happening with the Mystics nowadays, especially coming off. I mean, I know it's been 4 years, but you know they offer a title.
I was just about to say. I mean, at that point, them moving into that building, they had been in existence 20 years at that point before making that move. So it just goes to show you. 20 years and they got the money pouring in and the money coming out. They've been able to figure out a model to keep the team in
keep the lights
existing.
On, per se.
Yeah. So
for sure. Moving. I guess we can kind of switch from college to, but we need to go back to college real quick.
Yep.
Need to say rest in peace to Lefty Drizel, Merlin coach, who died recently at 92, 17 seasons in Maryland, over 40 years in the college basketball realm, Hall of Fame coach, 100 wins at 4 different schools in his tenure. For sure, rest in
That's
peace.
dope. Yeah.
And condolences and prayers to everybody involved. Definitely a legendary coach in the college space. I think it was 786 wins total.
That sounds about right. Yep. That's what I saw.
Yeah, for sure. So rest in peace to Lefty Drizel.
Yep, I echo everything you said, man. Rest in peace to a legend. I actually just started learning about him as the news, came about of his passing. Looked at the resume with Maryland and some of the other programs. And legend for certain, man. Condolences to his family, and may he rest in peace.
Yep. More basketball news. The Brooklyn Nets fired Jacques Vaughn, who lost his last 23 of 31 games, and named Kevin Ollie the interim coach. While a black man was fired, a black man was put in a position. So I don't necessarily
know. Swap for swap, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily know maybe he deserved to be fired, maybe he didn't. I don't know. I ain't paid enough attention to the Brooklyn Nets this year. I know 23 out of 31 sounds crazy. I don't know what their expectations were going into the season. But no one bites the dust. I'm sure Jacques Vaughn find work in the NBA because he was a good coach. I mean, maybe not good enough for the job. Maybe they felt like they needed a fresh say in the locker room.
Right.
But he's definitely qualified. And my rule of thumb nowadays is if you can run a rotation of mid-ass white coaches, you certainly could run a rotation of quote unquote mid-black coaches.
Yep.
So he should be able to get a job just like all these white coaches. Rotate them amongst
recycled
coaching jobs,
tossed around. I got that.
I think he'll be just fine.
Yeah, so I listen to New York radio every now and then, on the sports circuit, and one of the things that I hear Nets fans talk about is the rotations, and maybe kind of similar to how you've been talking about Wes Unseld and how he, deals with his rotations, and that's been more of a frustrating point for Wizards fans. It's sort of kind of the same thing with the Nets, where they start hot in these games, and then the rotations get a little funky, and then they blow games. I know they blew quite a few games this season. I'll tell you what, too. So the Villanova boys, Brunson and Josh Hart, they have this podcast they just started. I think it's called Roommates. And they had Mikal Bridges on there, who's also a Villanova cat. Was on the same team as them when they won the chip. So there was a game against the Nets. It was Knicks Nets at Barclays Center earlier this year, where it's Knicks fans packed in the building. It's about 70-75% Knicks fans. It's 80% it's 20%, 25% Nets fans, and they had McHale on there talking about how when he was at the free throw line and how the building was kind of making noise and stuff, and for him to reflect and say, damn, like I'm in my own building and I'm getting booed in my own building at my own free throw line, right? There's been a lot of hey, maybe the Nets should trade Mikal Bridges to the Knicks. There's been a lot of that talk. I don't think it'll ever happen because y'all in the same market. Y'all not trying to ain't trying to make the other better.
And the Knicks got young talent like coming in where he would come in, like it kind of don't make sense.
I think it'd be a good fit. I don't know that I agree with you in that regard, but I think it'd be a good fit. I just don't think it makes sense for the Nets. Like I think they turned down. Somebody was trying to make a trade for Mikal Bridges. I think they offered the Nets like 4 firsts or something like that, and the Nets was like, nah. So if if they telling another team, nah, we don't want your 4 first-round picks, then
was that Charlotte?
Not sure if it was Charlotte. You heard something about?
I feel like I see so much shit.
Right.
I see so much shit scrolling. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Now it makes sense for Charlotte to try to get
to
him.
offer that.
Right, to offer it, and because Pascal Siakam got we found out he was worth 3 first-round picks that Indiana gave up to get him from Toronto. So kind of back to the episode I was referring to. So I just wonder, and I know Jacque Vaughn's rotations, questionable and all that. I just wonder what Mikal Bridges has said in regards to, playing for the Nets, being in your own building when you're playing the Knicks and you don't get that same love, like from the crowd because it's, 70% Knicks. I just wonder if ownership is just kind of looking at the situation and saying, hey, we may have to kind of blow this thing up, and maybe it starts with the head coach, and at some point, you start trading off some of these, good players. Like they sent Dinwiddie to what's the name to the Lakers. They sent
Lakers.
Yeah, they sent Dinwiddie to the Lakers and stuff because he was getting tired of playing for them too in his second stint.
I mean, blow the team up. I mean, look, where they ranked at? They can't be in the top 8, right? Or top.
They in the top 10.
Maybe
I know
9
that.
or 10.
I know that.
I say maybe top 9.
They
10,
way below 500. I know that.
Right. I mean, shit. 23 out of the last 31. Yeah, they losing
bad.
right now.
They bad. Yeah, they damn bad.
So I mean, for that, I guess because Cam Thomas is still on that team, if I'm not correct.
Cam Thomas, Cam Johnson,
Mikal Bridges,
Nick Claxton is playing at the center. Yeah, they got some players.
Because low key they should be a little better. You would think they'd be a little bit better. Just look at the roster, right?
Right. You would think they're actually 11th, so they're outside the top 10.
Yeah, I was being generous when I was saying they ain't. Yeah, because again, 23 out of 31 sounds crazy.
It's great, and their record is 21-33. So. Yeah. So that means they started off pretty good, and then they just been taking a big slide ever since.
Again, which explains kind of why he was fired. I mean, look, man.
Yeah.
Much success to him. I hope it works out for him in the end, which I'm sure it will.
Yeah, and for real, I'll make one more point in regard to the Nets. At some point, the GM got to pay some penance too. At some point, because he's been through the whole Kenny Atkinson thing where they had Dinwiddie the first time around and they had D'Angelo Russell and that crew from a few years ago, and then they make the big trade. It wasn't a trade. It was free agent signings with KD and Kyrie, and then the whole vaccine thing with the city, which is not their fault, not the GM's fault, but then, that whole thing kind of spiraled, and I think the biggest crime of that period was them hiring Steve Nash to be the head coach. Yeah. That was a crime.
That was a mistake.
Yeah,
that was a mistake.
For certain there. So, you got to look at the general manager at that point, and maybe you start to say as an ownership group, hey, maybe it's time to move on from you too.
Yeah, but I say maybe he plays works this season and in lieu of a new coach, maybe they make a change. But yeah, Brooklyn. I mean, look, man, you got to think that you bring in KD, Kyrie, and James Harden, you got to be talking about championships, and they didn't deliver.
They didn't deliver.
They certainly, KD clearly saw the signs early and was like, yeah, go ahead, get me up out of here. Yeah,
the sign was Kyrie getting up out of there first.
yeah. I mean, look, man,
Although I would have respected KD more if he'd have stayed and just tried to work it out.
I get it. I mean, but truth be told, he's in a similar situation right now. So
in Phoenix, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So, we'll see.
We'll see what happens. We'll see.
I mean, if you're asking me, well, no, I think I'm a little. Who were you more enthusiastic? In 2019, I was way more enthusiastic about KD, Kyrie, and James Harden than I am in 2023-24 of Booker, Beal, and KD.
Yeah, and I think it was more so because of the degree of difficulty to get to the finals. In the Eastern Conference, it was easier than it is right now.
Right. I mean, and with all due respect, Beal has been injured a lot this year.
Yeah, they haven't had a lot of time together.
Yeah.
They haven't. Yeah. Defensively, I haven't really seen them really put that forth just yet. They still having some issues there. I know they made some moves to try to make that work, but defensively they still have.
Did they just sign somebody? I can't remember. They just signed somebody today or yesterday.
No, I can't remember. Or quite frankly, I didn't even see who they signed yesterday.
I'm pretty sure that I saw they signed somebody yesterday or today. Phoenix Suns.
I tell you what though, it don't seem like Bobo getting enough burn over there.
I am convinced that somebody is he is pissing somebody off everywhere he goes.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
I don't know.
It's crazy because he could do a lot in this league, man. I just don't understand.
I mean, he certainly. I lied to you. I'm not about to look for that.
What's that?
I was about to figure out who Phoenix just signed recently, but I'm not gonna look for it. I'm lying. Yeah, man. I don't know, man. He's clearly pissing somebody off because he's not getting played. It's not about he's not getting minutes. He wasn't getting a lot of minutes. He hasn't got a lot of minutes anywhere he's been.
Yeah. I don't get it.
I mean, I would love to say I would love to say that 3 organizations don't know what to do with him, but that don't sound like that makes sense to me.
No.
It was Denver, Orlando, and Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yep. And when it's 3 organizations and it's the same results, then at some point you just got to look at the player.
Maybe it's the player. Maybe.
Gotta look at the player. I mean, I like Nurkic at the center, but I think defensively he's been, in some of the games I've watched, he's been a liability on the defensive side.
Because what they keep saying is that nobody know how to use him.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, maybe that's a thing, but like you don't even have to. Like that's easy for me. 6-man, that's easy for me.
That's not. I think, yeah, who's Frank Vogel's the coach, right? Like. I can't accept that excuse from a defensive coach. You know what I'm saying? Like, not to say that he said that, but I can't accept that.
I can't accept that from nobody who. I've seen rumors about he's not a good practice. He don't do well in practice. He don't really be putting forth effort in practice. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's true. I'm just saying what I've read.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know what's up. I hope he gets some playing time sometime soon.
I hope so too. I mean, sometimes players are better in game time than they are at practice. You know what I mean?
Wizards need help, man.
Serious help. Y'all still at 9 wins, man?
I don't know where the fuck we at.
God damn.
Don't piss me off, man.
God, man. All you got to do is just not watch them. Just
oddly enough, my cousin Steven just texted me yesterday talking about, yeah, man, my birthday coming up. I want to go to a Wizards game. And
he's loyal. He's loyal.
yeah, it's his birthday, and I feel like, all right, man, let me go on and we played Charlotte on his birth. We played Charlotte on his birthday.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm just like,
man, that's some bad basketball right there. Charlotte and Washington.
I mean, look, man, I would love. The last time I went to a Wizards game, Bradley Beal hit a game winner in overtime against Dallas. Who am I? What's the dude in Dallas right now? Luka. Luka wasn't playing that game. He wasn't playing that game. So, and they let Bradley Beal hit a game winner, and I was hyped. I still got that video on my phone.
Man.
But so I'm hoping that when I get, if we do that we can get a win.
Man, it's rough. I'm hoping to get some of my guys back on the court, man, because we lost 4 in a row going into the All-Star break, and understandably, like. You got Brunson out there playing 40 minutes.
They said they on a little high, yeah.
Yeah. You got some, the Bogdanovich acquisition, which I kind of like, because I've talked about it for a couple years. We need 3-point shooting, and Bogdanovich can certainly do that, but they sat him out a couple games. So we got the Sixers, to kind of start, this final, stretch run to the playoffs. And I'm just hoping we can get guys like DiVincenzo back on the court, Hartenstein, Bogdanovich. Randall, I think, will be another week, and then they're going to evaluate him. I think OG will be another week too, so we'll see about that. But, man, I just need all the guys back healthy. And once we do that, man, I feel like we could beat the Bucks in the series. I feel like we could definitely beat the Cavs in the series. And the Cavs, who I want to show some love to, because I think they won like 18 out of 19 in these in the past few games. That's why they're the 2 seed right now. So Mitchell's been playing hot right now. They got Garland back. The bigs are playing much better. LeVert is playing much better off the bench. So. Props to them, but I feel like we could beat them in the series when it's all said and done. So
shout out to them.
NFL.
I guess we gotta talk. Yeah, but I guess we gotta talk a little football, man.
Yep. Yeah, let's do that. I want to get to this first. Eric Bieniemy, and we had a section where we talked about Eric Bieniemy a couple weeks ago, in the way that the Commanders have kind of handled his departure without really announcing that he was no longer with the team, right? So it came out, I think a little before the Super Bowl or after the Super Bowl, it came out that Eric Bieniemy went to the Chiefs facility before the AFC Championship game and gave out, I guess, a speech or whatever before the game against the Ravens. And it kind of had me scratching my head a little bit. Not because I'm a Ravens fan, but it had me scratching my head because it kind of ties back into the Commanders thing and how kind of they handled that. He went to another team's facility while being on another payroll for another team. I'm trying to figure out, like that. That's giving me
the morality of it.
Well, not so much the morality of it. Like, I guess contractually, are you allowed to do that from a contractual perspective?
I mean, I gotta assume so. If it got out,
it's giving me Doc Rivers vibes right now. Like,
hey, look, I don't know if he had been fired yet or if he had been told he was going to be fired.
Yeah,
but look, it's not like he was doing nothing better.
It made me think that he knew the writing was on the wall, and that he just said, I'm gonna just go back where they want me.
It made me think, I shouldn't have. He feeling like, I shouldn't have never left. I miss this culture. I miss winning. So let me go on and get that feeling. Let me go on and get that feeling real quick.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, hell, it worked. It helps. I ain't gonna say like he was the reason why they wanted to chip and beat Baltimore, but I mean, you gotta assume it helped. You gotta assume that a lot of those players who were there with him when he was in Kansas City were happy to see him, and it was a good morale thing to do for the Chiefs on the Chiefs side of it.
Yeah.
Look, man, I would gather that they didn't want him to leave, but they respected him trying to jump out there and do something for himself.
Mm-hmm.
I would gather that. I don't know that it's true, but I would think that no, they liked him in Kansas City. I mean, you saw the reports and how they spoke about him. They liked him there. I think they respected the fact that he had to go try to do something for himself, and now he might have been in there like, look, man, let me go and coach these running backs, man. Let me
get my get back. Let me
get back up in here. Y'all don't really fuck with Nagy.
I want that old thing back.
Yeah, right. I could see it, man. Like, hey, man, fuck it, man. Let me go on and do my thing. Let me go on and do my thing. Put me back in here. Y'all don't need Nagy. Put him at quarterback coach or something. I'm the offensive coordinator here.
Yeah. Something definitely was up. Like that relationship with him and the Commanders, it seemed like something was up. Cause
I mean, from the jump, from the second he accepted the job, it went from Eric Bieniemy is going to obviously be the. I mean, and in the course of a year, he's going to obviously be the heir apparent to now he is out the door.
Yeah.
To the likes of I don't forget who they hired already. Who the fuck they hired again?
Dan Quinn.
Dan Quinn, thank you.
And Cliff Kingsbury's the OC.
Right, and with no disrespect to Cliff Kingsbury or Dan Quinn, but what a difference a year makes.
Yeah, right. It's wild. Yeah. I feel like it's funny because I feel like when they broke that story after the game, I kind of felt like that was something that I think publicly could have been known out there, but the fact that it wasn't made public till after the game tells me something was up.
Did y'all get a defensive coordinator?
Yeah, Zach Orr, who formerly played for us.
Linebacker.
Yep.
Okay.
Zach Orr.
So I was about to say, man, there's a pretty good defensive coordinator out there that need a job.
Yeah. for certain, man. Well, who got recently hired? Martindale went to college. I think Michigan signed him for the DC job.
Okay.
Which is kind of crazy, but I don't know if we talked about this previously, but did we talk about how his exit with the Giants went? Like him and
no, because I don't know how it went.
Yeah, him and Dayball had a back and forth, apparently. He just it was one meeting they had, and he cussed Dayball out and just stormed out the facility.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
no, I did not know that.
Yeah. So and I think at the time it happened, I was like, ooh, I know the Eagles is looking for a defensive coordinator. If I'm the Eagles, I'd be trying to get that dude. You know what I'm saying? But for like a week, maybe a week and a half, nobody was trying to holler at Wink Martindale. And I'm thinking to myself, damn, I wonder if it has something to do with the fact that he cussed out his coach, on his way out. And, turns out he ends up in college, coordinating Michigan. So I think that's what happened. I think the teams looked at him cussing out Dayball and was like, yo, you cussing your boss out on the way out? Nah, we don't want that.
So how you feel about Steve Wilkes? There's a lot of timeline shit that I'm reading that where people are saying that Steve Wilkes was never a good fit. Or like they look like people that are. I don't remember the exact quote from Kyle Shanahan, but it certainly gave the impression that he was blaming Steve Wilkes for that Super Bowl loss, and I ain't care for it.
So when it first happened, I'm like, yo, Steve Wilkes just can't catch a break.
Yeah, for real.
With Arizona, the 1 year where they screwed him over, they draft Josh Rosen, and then they just fire him after the 1 year, and then he goes to Carolina. They fire Matt Rule. He gets the interim position. They go
Racks
they go
on
on a
some
run.
wins.
Yeah, they go on a run, and I might have said this before, but I think I said it to Sheena Quick one day. I said people don't talk about this, but when Detroit was on their run to the playoffs a year ago, not this past season, but the year before that, when Detroit was on their run and everybody thought that Detroit was going to get one of them wild cards, that Panther team beat that team along the way and cost them a playoff spot. I think that game they had rushed for like 300 plus yards against Detroit in that game. And to me, I thought that was all, Steve Wilkes, imprint on that, right? So, and then he gets the San Francisco job, and I'm thinking the top 3 in defense. They're still among the top defenses in the league, because I know D'Amico had them there the previous year. I know Salah had them there, a few years prior to that. It didn't feel like the defense took a step back, right? And then I'm thinking to myself, this team was in the Super Bowl. This team went to the Super Bowl. Like, you go to the Super Bowl and then you find out you're not going to come back to the team. Like, it's giving me Adrian Griffin vibes, in the sense that, Adrian Griffin started off with a good record and then they decide you're not good enough. Like, I don't.
Well, clearly we're not going to sit here and say that the San Francisco 49ers have a bad defense or had a bad defense this past year. And where in comparison the Bucks statistically don't have a good defense. I mean, hell, they still don't with Doc over
I wasn't
there,
making those two things the comparison.
Gotcha.
I was making the comparison that these two guys are getting let go for whatever the reason is, but their team standing is pretty good. Milwaukee was the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference. The San Francisco 49ers was in a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I'll say this. I hope that the San Francisco 49ers that's not the only drastic move that they're making. That's what I'll say. Because truth be told, a lot of those mistakes that were made in that game on San Francisco with special teams and offense. I mean, I get that they chose to stop running the ball. Brock Purdy missed Deebo Samuels in the end zone. Obviously the muff punt. The missed field goal. They're like, I think, extra point. I'm sorry.
Which by the way, the only touchdown that they gave up in regulation was that touchdown right after the muff punt.
Right after the muff
on
punt.
a short field.
Right. Where he did it in one play.
Yeah.
Mahomes did it in one play.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, but then we'll go back and say, well, the Green Bay Packers gashed them. Then the Detroit Lions gashed them.
Yeah.
There was some regular season games where they struggled against the run.
That Viking game on Monday night.
For sure.
Yeah.
But I'm not here saying that Steve Wilkes deserves to be fired. I think what I'm saying is that if Shanahan feels like they need to hurry up and get a bowl, this better not be the only drastic move he makes, because all this reads to me is a drastic move to cover up what I slacked on in offense and what special teams slacked off on in that game. So that special teams coach better be getting fired. Something else drastic needs to start happening fast, because I don't care for Kyle Shanahan turning Steve Wilkes into a scapegoat and putting that stink on his name as if he's the reason they didn't win a Super Bowl.
Right. So props.
And now this is two. And it's not. This is two situations where Steve Wilkes got the short end of the stick, where he wasn't necessarily the issue as to why the teams didn't succeed. Now that's 3.
Right. So props to Mike Patton and Young Heavy and all the other 49er fans that I follow on Twitter, because they were the ones that kind of made me identify maybe some of the in-game stuff that was taking place. I mean, you mentioned the 2 playoff games. I mentioned the Viking game in the regular season, the Monday night game. There was also a Cincinnati Bengal game where I think Burrow lit him up in that one afternoon game there.
That where Trent and Debo was out.
Right, when Trent and Debo was out. Right. So I can understand that. I can understand them pointing those things out. I think they didn't agree with the firing, but they understood it. I think they said that they understood the reasoning for it. I'll say this though, and I got a couple points. Kyle Shanahan, if you knew that Steve Wilkes runs a certain style of defense, why the hell you hire him?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
but I'll rebut it fast so you can get the rest of your points out.
Yep.
I do believe in you applying for a job and they asking you what could you do better to get us over the hump, and a coach like Steve Wilkes saying, well, y'all run this. If we run this, these are the results we're gonna get, and then somebody in turn saying, all right, we'll put you in position, but if this don't work, I'm gonna let your ass go because you're not doing things the way I want to do things. So I could see that. I could
see that too. And at the same time, it doesn't absolve Kyle Shanahan because, like you said,
sure, absolutely not.
It seems like absolutely not. He's covering up his mistakes and making Steve Wilkes the scapegoat.
He's turning him into a scapegoat.
Yeah,
he's turning him to a scapegoat.
Right,
yeah,
right,
for sure.
So I want to know what you think about this. I thought about this. Nick Bosa, because he had some comments in the media also, made mention about not being in the right places during certain plays and drives and things like that. Nick Bosa, if you take all the best pass rushers off of each team, all 32 teams, where would you rank Nick Bosa at? Would you rank him top 10?
Off. If you're asking me,
off
yes.
rip. Okay,
yes,
off rip. And I agree with you. I agree with you.
Yes.
I think he's top 10, right? And I know people, put and he's making big money. He's making money. As a matter of fact, there's players on that defense that's got some, money tied up as well. Nick Bosa, I think he's a great pass rusher. In a sense that he's top 10. Not that he's, an all-time great or anything like that. But I think what he's done in the league up to this point, I think he's one of the better pass rushers in the league. If you come out in the media and you're saying we weren't put in the right positions on certain plays and certain moments, I think about it like this. You can scheme players to make them successful, right?
Sure.
And then you got the greats, the ones that maybe don't need to be schemed. They're going to be great regardless, right? For them to make Steve Wilkes the scapegoat and for Nick Bosa's comments to kind of resonate at the same time, I feel like it says more about Nick Bosa, right? Like, you getting money and we kind of perceive you as this great pass rusher. I don't feel like you need to be schemed, right? Like, even if they call in certain stuff and, maybe you're not getting home or, your teammate's not doing this or your other teammate's not covering this assignment. Like, I just feel like the great ones can still be great without being schemed, if that makes any sense.
Sure, it does make sense. I disagree with it in like, I don't all the way disagree, but I do disagree a little.
Yeah.
I think you do got to put them in positions. I know that I can't remember a game, but it was sometime mid-season where T.J. Watt was real heavy on they hold with me. Yeah. So they put him in the middle. There was a game with him and Alex Highsmith legit just started switching sides.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To just try to get something because we wasn't getting
right. In-game adjustments and
right. So that type of thing. So sure, that's something like if you want to maximize a player's talent, there is a time where you got to see, okay, this ain't working right now. We need to do something to get him loose because we know if he gets loose, the type of impact he's going to have on the game. I mean, I get it. Look, let's be clear. Nick Bosa is Nick Bosa, whether you move him or not. Like, he's still getting double-digit sacks every year. He is definitely still a top 10 pass rusher in the league. All that, but I think to get maximum production out of anybody, but especially that type of player, you need to be able to put him in situations where he can be best successful. So if for some reason, based on matchups, he's getting extra held in this game in his natural position, you should try to move him to get him, to try to avoid him getting held as often.
Yeah.
I mean, you hear a lot of people when you watch wide receivers and you hear they having a quiet game, and you always hear the broadcaster say, you got to move him around. Move him around, get him easy stuff so he can start to cook.
Yeah.
I think that's the same theory for a pass rusher. I think that could be applicable to a pass rusher as well.
Okay. Yeah. I thought about it, and it's kind of like, and I guess the bottom line is now that Kyle Shanahan is in this situation now, if you're going to go get a DC that's going to run your stuff, or at least has the experience to run what you want to run.
Or what it would seem is that they want to hire a DC that's going to do what Kyle Shanahan says. That's what it would appear.
I've heard that too. Like it's more of a power thing, more of a like I want you to be my puppet.
I want you to do
kind of a
right.
thing.
It would appear that it's leaning towards something like that. Like, I want you to do what I say, how I say it, because I even plan my defense based on how well my offense is going. Like, it's that type of pride or overconfidence.
So Kyle Shanahan
that a lot of people speak about. Yeah, look. I would imagine that any NFL coach. That plans a game, you got to understand defense in order to plan offense that works.
Of course.
I'm not saying you got to be a defensive guru,
of course,
but I think he does understand defenses in that sense. So he was like, okay, if you plan on beating us in scout team, this is what I expect you to run. And if you can beat us in scout team as one of the more prolific offenses in the league, you should be able to stop most teams.
Yeah, and I'm fine with him wanting somebody that's going to run what he wants to run. Like, I'm fine with that thought process. I'm just saying, get somebody that's going to do it. You know what I'm saying? Don't get a Steve Wilkes that you've seen what he's run, right? You've seen what he's done. You know what I'm saying?
You wasted his time for a year.
Yeah.
You wasted his time for a year. Because I'm sure he was excited to work with that group of talent.
Yeah, absolutely. And now he out in the street now. And I don't know how many of these jobs are, got openings right now, but, he's probably not going to be a coordinator. He probably either going to take some time off, or he might be a D-backs coach.
I hope you're wrong.
I hope I'm wrong too, man. I hope I'm wrong. Hey, shout out to our man Rod Cali in the YouTube live chat.
What up?
He says Bosa is on that Trump shit, so he ain't want Wilkes there. I was thinking the same. I was thinking the same thing. Kind of going back to his comment in the media about them not being in right positions. I was thinking about that too. I was thinking about that.
Yeah, for sure. Tell me about Zay Flowers' domestic situations that have been dismissed as I look, because I didn't know he was. Is that the situation we talked about maybe a month ago?
No, this just happened maybe a week or two ago, maybe.
But we did talk about it on the show, though.
No, we didn't.
You sure?
I'm positive.
Okay,
I'm positive.
I felt like we talked about this on the show. Because when I went to look it up, I seen that it happened. It
was after the AFC Championship game for certain.
Oh, so it wasn't a month ago. Okay,
no.
But now I'm messing up the date. But basically, the alleged woman made a call, didn't want to disclose the athlete's name. Said the brother pulled a gun on him.
Yep.
All this rigmarole. But long story short, they dropped it, and he's good. So
yeah,
shout out to him.
So I will say prayers to all involved, because I never want to hear a woman being a victim of domestic abuse, domestic violence in that regard. Certainly,
I don't know if it's true though, so that's why I ain't want.
Well, that's why I'm saying.
That's
what I'm saying. Prayers to those involved, because you're right.
Sure, everybody deserves prayer.
We don't know what happened. We don't know.
But if they drop the charges, or suspend the charges, was the official thing. They suspended the charge. They suspended the charges.
Correct. Doesn't mean doesn't mean it did or it didn't happen. It just means charges were dropped because nobody didn't want to come forward.
Yeah, but I don't want to put that stink on them if charges weren't filed. If charges
no,
I got
you.
Okay.
I got you. 100%. When we always say you're guilty, well, you're innocent until you're proven guilty. You know, we always say that. So by the court of law, he's not been charged with anything. Everything has been dropped.
So if he's innocent, so in theory, there's only theory. If in theory he's innocent, don't that mean nothing happened?
No.
Nah, not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
Yeah, I hear you.
No.
I hear you.
No.
But I still don't want to put that on. And I'm not, obviously, I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, but this is past football. I don't want to put that stink on Slim. I don't.
Yeah, I don't. I hope it's not. Yeah, I
don't
hope
even
it's
want to
not
put
true.
the idea of it.
Right.
I'm going to address it as if it's, with all due respect to the woman.
Yep.
I'm honestly looking at it like he didn't do that. That's how I'm looking at it.
Okay.
Until otherwise.
Right, and you got a right to look at it that way.
Yeah.
I'll look at it as a lessons learned situation, and if you Zay Flowers, you got to move differently. Take this as a lesson.
Well, that's the assumption that he moved wrong, though, right?
Not necessarily that he moved wrong. It could just be. Maybe he's hanging out with some folks that he shouldn't maybe be around, and maybe he needs to change.
Wouldn't that be a wrong move? But wouldn't that be a wrong move?
Well, it may be wrong to be around a certain individual. It doesn't necessarily mean that he committed a particular action. If that makes sense.
But if you're saying move different, that would imply that the way he was moving at first wasn't a good way to move.
Right. But it doesn't mean that the action that's being described in the documentation he committed. It doesn't mean that he did it or he didn't do it.
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you saying move there. I'm not talking about did he or did he not hit somebody or abuse somebody.
Yeah,
I'm saying that if you're saying he needs to move with different people, then it was a mistake to be with them people in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm.
Okay,
that's all.
Right. So
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know that he. Again, all I'm saying is I don't know that he was moving incorrectly to get into that situation.
Or maybe I could say it this way: don't get yourself in this situation again. Whatever that takes. Whatever that is. Whatever that takes.
Look, man, that dude is 22, 23.
No, I get it. I get it.
Millionaire. It's really, I hear you. I hear you.
I get it.
That's a really difficult thing to not get into.
It's
not
difficult.
Because
it's easier said.
Because all it takes is somebody is somebody to be a liar. If
understood.
And I'm not saying shorty lying.
Right.
Yeah.
Understood. And look, it's easier said than done. For a 23-year-old, but if it was me, Trey Frazier, sitting with him face to face and me giving him advice, I would just say, hey, just find a way to move different moving forward. However way that is, don't involve yourself in things like this. Don't have your name in things like this moving forward, because what's going to end up happening is now your money is going to be affected, your playing time going to be affected, the way the league looks at the situation gets affected. You don't want that. Endorsement deals, sponsors and things like that, endorsements. You don't want that. That's what I would say to him.
Niggas in Baltimore don't get no endorsements, man.
Oh, here you go. here you go. Well, let me speak to that.
It's just a joke.
I know.
No, you don't have. It was just a joke. Oh, you don't got a rabbit hole down. You don't have to do that, man. It was just a joke, Trey. You ain't got to do that.
You don't even know what I'm about to say.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
You don't even know about
if you say what I'm thinking you about to say, I'm gonna cut you off again.
What do you think I'm about to say?
Are you about to go into endorsements, Baltimore Ravens endorsements, and why they not getting? Okay, all right.
No. I was gonna get into something. I saw a clip of Keyshawn Johnson. He was on All the Smoke a couple episodes ago, and one of the things he was making mention about was Lamar Jackson being marketable to the league. Like, does the league view Lamar Jackson as marketable? And at first, it kind of reminded me of what we talked about with the whole Super Bowl thing. Now it's two different things, because he's talking about the league marketing him as a player versus you saying that they don't want him in the Super Bowl. It's two different things. Even though I guess being in the Super Bowl is a form. It's a form of being marketable, but it's not the entire scope of it, because he's talking about.
That was a joke. That was a joke too, by the way, Trey.
What's that? No, I'm sure.
When I say they didn't want,
I know that, but
okay,
that's why I was mentioning the mother black quarterbacks, nigga. But he made a good point, and I think he also brought the Penny Hardaway comparison into the conversation. So Keyshawn was like, yo, even if you don't know how to market Lamar Jackson as a league, I could find ways, to market a player. We could, regardless of if, they look the part or if they don't look the part or whatever. He bought the Penny Hardaway thing in. You remember the Tyra Banks commercials back in the day, which I didn't know that Penny didn't want to do commercials. Like he kind of bought that into the fray. I didn't know that back in the day, but they bought Chris Rock, I think, into those commercials. Yeah. They incorporated.
He was Little Penny.
Little Penny, right? The Little Penny thing. But he made the point about bringing other celebrities involved into the marketing thing, and so Keyshawn was basically saying, hey, I could come up with some ideas to market a Lamar Jackson, even if Lamar Jackson is not in these commercials, himself. We can do something similar to how they used to market Penny Hardaway back in the day. So I just thought I'd bring that up because I ran across that clip of him talking about that.
The Steelers cut Mitch. I saw you put this on.
Yeah, that was late. I know that's kind of late because they did it like over a week ago, and I think.
Well. I mean, it fit the week. No, it fit the news cycle week. It just wasn't. For me, when I saw it, I was like, oh, okay. I mean,
you expected it,
talking
right?
about it because I'm. Yeah, all three of these cuts were easy cuts to make.
Yep.
So why not get it out the way? Mitchell Trubisky.
Oh, right, because who else they cut? They cut the punter.
Presley Harvin, and Okorafor, who was due for $13 million by March. So that's an easy cut. They cleared $20 million in cap.
Yep.
With these three cuts. They are under the cap. They are under the salary cap right now because of it going into free agency. These three were probably the easier cuts to make. Not even probably were the easier cuts to make. Okorafor and Presley Harvin have underachieved, and Trubisky. All three have underachieved. Yep. Easy cuts to make. I want to know how long they're going to take before they cut Patrick Peterson.
Interesting. So you don't want Patrick Peterson.
I didn't want Patrick Peterson since like week 3, week 4.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
I wonder what his numbers. I wonder what his numbers are.
They're not good.
I'm talking about his money.
Oh. I don't know. I don't know, to be honest with you. I didn't think they looked that up. But I don't give a fuck what his numbers is. I don't want him on my secondary no more.
Yeah. I got you. I just wondering what kind of deal he's on.
I'm sorry. I just don't want him there. But yeah, shout out to the Steelers for getting that out of the way. I saw in the quarterback sweepstakes. It seems like Russell Wilson is now officially the front runner. I know Justin Fields and Kirk Cousins.
There's another name. There's another name out there.
There is.
There's another name.
I'm interested to hear.
There's another name, and you're not gonna like it.
Oh, Tannehill. Yeah. No, but here's I don't like it. But if they did bring in Ryan Tannehill, I'm not gonna say I'm super confident, but I'm kind of confident that Kenny Pickett would beat out Ryan Tannehill. So if that were to happen, I wouldn't like it, but I would be like, you know what, Kenny Pickett, you best damn well better win that damn job.
I was gonna say, because that nigga Arthur Smith, then
yeah,
he might,
I get it.
He might have some influence, bro. Like,
well, yeah, obviously he will. Obviously he will have influence. Ain't no question about it. He will have influence. Yeah. But I just gotta believe that he would be able to beat out. I would hope that he would be able to beat out Ryan Tannehill at this stage of Ryan Tannehill's career. I would hope. I don't want to see Ryan Tannehill there, but I saw somewhere that I might have seen it on D's Twitter. Shout out D, who going crazy out here.
Yeah.
She was saying that Russell Wilson is cheaper, is like really, really cheap. Like cheap enough where we need to at least make a look at it.
Right, because they're gonna the Broncos are gonna cut him.
He's gonna eat it out of them. Yeah,
yep,
right.
Yep, they're gonna cut him. So yeah, that will make him a free agent. Fields is gonna command a bag because he'll still be on the back end of the rookie deal, and most likely Pittsburgh will extend him on that rookie deal, and that's gonna be money.
What makes you absolutely sure of that going into Pittsburgh Steelers year? Meaning, meaning the main focus that Mike Tomlin talked about in his in-game presser was, we need to bring in an offensive coordinator with experience, and we need to bring in a quarterback a veteran that will compete with Kenny Pickett. So I say that to say, if they bring in a Justin Fields. Unless Justin Fields beats out Kenny Pickett and then balls, then okay, obviously we're talking about giving him quarterback money.
But now that you say those words, though, you just recited Tomlin's words, veteran. That's the key word that I'm stuck on. I don't put Justin Fields in that category.
No. I said veteran offensive coordinator. Smith is my
fault. I thought you said veteran quarterback.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, he's just a quarterback to compete.
Gotcha.
Right. So Justin Fields is clearly going to compete with Kenny Pickett. I mean, even Ryan Tannehill is going to compete. Like that's why in my book you don't bring in a Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson is going to beat Kenny Pickett. Kirk Cousins is going to beat Kenny Pickett. You know what I'm saying? But Justin Fields. Kenny Pickett might. I would give a slight edge to Justin Fields, but to compete, Kenny Pickett, knowing the offense, being here, should beat out Ryan Tannehill, and if he's really him, should beat Fields, Justin Fields.
I think I agree with you if it's Kirk Cousins, that if it's Kirk, that it's the starting job is his. With Russ,
really,
I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure.
We remember how Russell Wilson played on this second half of this season.
Yes, we do. And it was solid, steady football.
Do we agree that the Pittsburgh Steelers have better weapons than the Denver Broncos on offense?
Yes, of course. I'm not basing it. I'm just looking at I'm looking at it from the standpoint of they drafted Kenny Pickett. They want Kenny Pickett to be the guy. In 2 years, you would say what? With Kenny Pickett in 2 years?
He's been trash.
He's been trash, right. Okay. So you bringing him in some competition. Justin Fields, I get. To compete with Kenny Pickett. I get it. Young. Ryan Tannehill, coming off of being benched in Tennessee, not getting a lot of burn. I understand that. Compete for the starting job with Kenny Pickett. Kirk is coming off the Achilles, so even though he was dancing around at the awards, but coming off the injury,
I mean, look, I get that, but we're not gonna sit here and act like Kirk Cousins ain't one.
No.
No.
Like I said, I agree
Okay.
with you with the Kirk thing. Like I think
Okay.
if Kirk comes in, Kirk's the starter based on when we last seen Kirk Cousins in Minnesota.
Based on what you last seen with Russell Wilson, you say no. That's what it sounds like you're saying.
I say yeah. I say no, and maybe it's the success of the team. Maybe I'm including how the team did down the stretch in that run.
I think, and I also think you're including how he played his first year in Denver.
I'm not including that.
Okay,
I'm including how they finished.
Okay.
And maybe more so that than digging deeper into the context of his numbers down the stretch. And again, he played solid, I thought, the entire year. He played better than he did the first year in Denver. But
clearly he played better in the first year. Yeah.
But I just and again, maybe it's the collapse. It's the Broncos collapse down the stretch that kind of has me going like.
I hear you. I don't know. I don't know if I put that on Russell Wilson though. I don't put that collapse. I don't know.
Yeah.
I do not put that collapse on Russell Wilson. I get that he plays a role because he's the quarterback.
The Patriots.
But I do not put. I do not put that.
That bothers me.
I do not put the. Sure, but I don't put that on Russell Wilson. I don't put the majority of that on Russell Wilson.
Okay. Something about that Patriots loss bothers me with Denver, but hey.
I put more of that. Look, man, Sean Payton was supposed to fix this team. Let's be clear about it.
Mm-hmm.
Sean Payton was brought in to fix this team immediately. That's what he was brought in to do.
Yep.
And he didn't.
Yep. Yeah.
I put it way more on Sean Payton and the talent. And again, that's not absolving Russell Wilson.
Right.
But Russell Wilson was the least of the problems of that team last year.
This last year, yes. I would agree with.
The least of the problems.
That I would agree with. I would also say Sean Payton, an offensive guy, and he's had some great defenses in New Orleans. Don't get me wrong. Didn't fix the defense. Especially early in that season.
And look, failed the offense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
they thought that he was going. They was going to compete in that division that year.
Yep,
that's what they thought.
Yep.
Yeah,
didn't fix the offense. Yep.
I'm not saying it's a fireable offense in his first year. I'm just saying if the goal was to compete in the West, he didn't.
Right.
He's not how they felt.
And he benched Russell Wilson regardless of the reason. I know the reasons had to do with money and contract language and stuff like that.
Right, I forgot all about that. So I'm definitely So I'm definitely not blaming Russell Wilson. How could you put that loss on the Patriots on Russell Wilson?
Yeah, no, I got you. I got you.
Yeah, I forgot all about he got benched.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he got
money reasons.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, fire Sean Payton. Are you crazy?
Yeah. They won't do it. They won't do it.
No, of course they're not. Because it wasn't up to him. He got benched because the general manager, somebody told him to bench him.
That's their guy. Like that's the new ownership's guy. They're not getting rid of him.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. So one last thing I got.
I don't know. Do we really got to talk about it?
You don't want to talk about it?
I mean, because it's much ado about nothing. Listen here, man.
I agree with you. You. We on the same page.
Let me be clear.
Mm-hmm.
It was rumored that C.J. Stroud and Amber Rose was dating or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
If they were, great. But she came out in the comments and said, no, it's not.
Yep.
My ride, I needed a ride. He gave me a ride because my ride left me, whatever.
Yep.
But let's say, theoretically, he was smashing Amber Rose. Who the fuck hating on that?
Nobody's hating on it.
What would be your issue?
Nobody. Look, I don't have an issue with it. I'm speaking for the people that have, expressed
Commented.
opinions and comments and stuff like that. And I don't equate hating to being concerned. I think those are two different emotions. I think those are two different things. I'm not hating on it, and nobody, and quite frankly, I don't think anybody should. I mean, Drea and Jalen Green from the Rockets, got something going on. So they two adults.
It seemed like he's doing just fine.
It seemed like he's doing just fine. I hope everything work out for him.
Here's what I'll say.
Yep.
In reference to C.J. Stroud and Amber Rose, if there was something really going on, and like I said, it's not for all intents and purposes, nothing's going on. I don't believe Amber Rose to be a liar, even though I don't know her. Look, man, if he was knocking it down, God bless. Everybody know who Amber Rose is. Bad joint.
Last time I saw her, she got folded up by Jocelyn.
You talking about some reality TV show?
Yeah. She got folded up, bro.
All right. Well, I ain't here to talk about that. Nobody give a fuck about that.
Yeah.
Last I checked, folded or not, shorty bad motherfucker. I don't really care for the face tattoo, but that's your business. That's your business. She a legend in this entertainment game. Bad shorty, all that. Who wouldn't his age want to knock that down? Shit, who wouldn't my age want to knock that down? Like, if that's what was happening, hey man, God bless. God, like, what are we talking about?
No, I wish him well.
Until we can directly see or directly speculate. Let me say that better. Directly speculate that she is affecting him on the field. Us talking about some shit at a softball game. Hey, my guys, my people, calm the fuck down.
But you know what it is.
It's the all season.
But you know what it is. The reaction comes from, and look, I've seen different opinions about the Jalen Green and Drea stuff. I've seen different concerns in where that's regarded. So I think it comes from that, and they place it on CJ and Amber, and they're like, oh my God, leave him alone. He's just a baby.
It's predatory. Basically,
right. And so I think it's reaction from that. My response
let me be very clear. Let me be very, 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 very clear on my stance. Drea was predatory, but at the end of the day, I believe her fucking with Slim looks to me as predatory. That's just my opinion without all the stats and facts.
Yep.
At the end of the day, though, Jalen Green is a grown-ass, rich-ass young man. Man, ain't nothing. He could be young. All those adjectives you could add to in front of man, none of those adjectives eliminate the noun man. That is a man. So let that man do what he want. If she playing him, he a man. Let him get his heart broken and learn that lesson. If they happy and live happily ever after, if the roles were reversed, we wouldn't be hating on, or let me say, the men would not be hating on a man. Quincy Jones still knocking down joints 60 years younger than him, allegedly.
Yeah, and I don't think the people that are like reacting to this situation are necessarily hating. I just think that they just might be concerned, like, about, okay, his future moving forward with, like you said, Drea's situation looked predatorious. They probably looked at this situation hypothetically as, ooh, Amber might be a predator in this situation. I think it's a concern.
See, and let me, I mean, that's you saying it, so I'll let you speak for yourself. I am not in turn saying, I don't know that I'm saying, I guess if I'm saying that the act is predatory. It seems predatory. I'm not there, so I don't know.
Yep.
I'm not calling Drea a predator, because like I said, at the end of the day, I mean,
I got
the dude is grown. The dude grown.
No, I got you.
Is grown.
I got
you.
She
might. I mean, look, for me to sit here and act like, there's an issue with Drea smashing a dude that the same age as her son, I mean, yeah, sure, that's on face value, that sounds crazy.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if her
That's
son
true.
a grown ass man, her son is a grown ass man.
Yeah, two things can be true at the same time. It looks
Yeah,
crazy on face
so
value, and at the end of the day, you just wish them well. For me, I wish these couples well.
I don't
If
wish them nothing. It
CJ
ain't my business.
is, you don't wish them nothing.
I don't wish them nothing. I don't care. It ain't my business.
Okay, I got that. I'm just saying, if they want to do what they want to do, cool, fine with them. I wish them
Right.
well. I don't wish any bad on them. Like, I don't want nothing.
Obviously.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like, I'm not
right.
You know, I don't
I'm-
care. I
I'm
don't
just
care
not going out
either.
of my-
I don't care
I don't
either.
care.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't care either. But I'm not gonna wish bad on them. You know, I'm not gonna
Well, I
hate
ain't wish bad on
on
them
their
either.
relationship. You know what I'm saying? So
I don't wish them. I just don't wish them anything. I don't care.
yeah, sure. I mean,
I'm still look. And if the world was mine, I'd be getting me a piece of Drea. If the world was mine, so
I think you could have bagged Drea though.
Look, man, it ain't over for me. Come on, what you doing? What you doing to me, man? It ain't fucking.
I was
over
trying
for
to
me.
get. I was trying to get
Look,
your response.
It ain't over for me, man. My life ain't over. I just got, you know what I'm saying, get on her level. You know what I'm saying?
Hey man. Hey, look, Jalen Green and
Shout out to you, man.
look.
Shout out to Jalen Brown, man.
When-
Shout out to my man Jalen Brown.
When-
I just seen a picture of Bernice earlier today. She just turned 43 years old. Shawty,
Jalen Green might have had a poster of Drea on his wall growing up, and maybe once upon a time said, "Man,
You
If
sound
I
old
could-
as
if
hell.
I-
Niggas
if
ain't
I-
had no
if-
posters.
if
Niggas
I
ain't
could
had no
bag
posters
that-
when he was coming up, man.
I don't know that."
I could tell you niggas didn't have posters on their walls.
What's that?
Niggas didn't have posters on their walls when Jalen Green was coming up.
Okay, I mean that's.
But I feel you.
I know you was
I'm
in
with
the
you.
man. I know you was in the man room. I'm just saying he probably.
I
did.
know kids that age. Motherfuckers didn't have posters in their room.
Okay. All right. I'm not.
I'm just
about-
telling
not-
you.
I'm not about to go into a rabbit hole.
Semantics. You're right, man. There's no need to do this.
Look, she came out and she addressed it. Amber, that is. She addressed it on social media. You know that's that. So.
Yeah. Shout out to her.
Yeah. Shout out to her.
And
shout out to him.
And
yeah.
him.
Yep. Shout out to them. So he did a nice thing for her. So cool with that.
I mean, I hope he got some for real.
I don't care. I don't care if he did or not.
I don't either, but I do hope he got some.
Okay. All right. You see where I'm coming from. All right. Shout out to everybody in the chats, man. Appreciate everybody out there. Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. Continue to follow us on the platforms. Hit the subscribe button on the YouTube channel. The Facebook page, click the like button. Our Twitter handle over at the podcast is at Barbershop SPOR2. Follow us, like I said, on our Twitch channel as well. If you got questions, comments, hit us up on the email, barbershopsportstalk1@gmail.com. And if you're listening on the audio side, write a review. We're all over these, Spotify's, Google Play, Apple, iHeartRadio, all that good stuff, man.
Back when dunk contest was dunk contest. Oh, you can't see it?
I couldn't see who the player was. Shout out to the legend. VC.
The last classic. I mean,
Yeah.
I know people feel like Gordon and
Levine.
And I'm not disrespecting that one because it was a good dunk contest.
Good.
I'm sorry.
Good solid dunk contest.
That was the last classic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
2000 was the last classic.
Yeah. Facts. Yeah. VC the legend. Shout out to the homie there. Shout out. Yeah, folks. Follow us on everything. We appreciate the support. Also check out our merch store. We got hoodies, hats, and t-shirts, and even we got some, stuff for the ladies as well. V-neck t-shirts and stuff. So make sure y'all check that out. looking forward to next week, man. Definitely looking forward to what we got coming up. With these shows and things are starting to heat up with the NBA. We're gonna get into that for certain. You good, man? Anything?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
No doubt, no doubt. Love, peace, and happiness to everybody out there. And as always, folks, mind your damn business.
Drink some water.
Recording stopped.
Oh yeah, we got 'em. Trey, Frazier, and Maestro Styles, you know we got one. Right back like we left some. We don't duck smoke, we want all of it. So line them up, Trey sharp with the blade, you know we sizing it up. I'm quick to catch the fade, no styles making the cut, cause we coming out